The ROUSes have hit the road again. In this episode, we explore the beautiful scenery of the Texas Panhandle.
Wondering where we've been over the last few months? Well, stick around and we'll explain where we are and where we're going to next.
Hi, we're John and Tandy, two retirees who are hiking, paddling, and eating our way across America, one road trip at a time. Come join us on our road trips of unusual size.
Well, like we said, we've not been putting out any episodes for the last few months, but we have been very busy with some non-travel related life events.
For example, just after the last episode, where we hiked the piney woods in East Texas, we headed to Dallas to buy a house. This new home will serve as an anchor home for us to support trip planning and to allow us some time off the road.
We also spend our time off helping one of our sons get married. This was immediately followed by another son and daughter-in-law bringing a new baby into the world. It was a busy few months. But once again, we've hit the road and have started a trip that we're calling the Summer Loop.
This 2.5-month trip will take us to some remarkable places that we've been trying to explore for years. Okay, here's our plan for the Summer Loop.
A couple of weeks ago, we left our Dallas home and headed toward New Mexico. Our first stops were in the Texas Panhandle, and those scenic areas are the subject of this video.
At the time of this episode's release, we're in northern New Mexico. We're currently exploring the Santa Fe area, but will soon be headed further north into the Rocky Mountains.
In September, we will start meandering south to visit southeast New Mexico's caves, mountains, and UFO crash sites. From there, we'll keep heading down to Big Bend country. We'll try to visit as much of that majestic region as possible.
By October, we hope to be back in our anchor home for some time with family and friends. We've got a big winter trip planned, but we'll get to that later. But for now, let's look at what we found in the rocky, remote Panhandle region of Texas.
Our first stop took us to a state park that is near the Texas-Oklahoma border. This is the Copper Breaks State Park. The park spans almost 2,000 acres and is just south of Quanah. Quanah was named after Quanah Parker, the famed Comanche that roamed this area in the 1800s.
Explorers in the area spotted streaks of raw copper in this area's canyons and arroyos. That copper drew prospectors and ultimately resulted in the creation of a mining operation here in 1877. In its heyday, up to 100 men worked steam-powered machinery and rock-crushing equipment. But the copper proved to be limited in volume, and after a few years of mining, it proved to be unviable. That copper color can still be seen, however, from the park's rugged trails. After exploring the Copper Breaks, we were off to the remarkable Palo Duro Canyon. This massive canyon is the second largest canyon in the United States. It's roughly 120 miles long and has an average width of 6 miles. Frontier peoples have inhabited this lush wilderness area for thousands of years. In the 1800s, there were numerous clashes here between the Army, settlers, Comanches, and Kiowas.
Ultimately, Texas bought this land in 1933, and the Civilian Conservation Corps spent 5 years turning it into a park. It's located just south of Amarillo near the town of Canyon. At 28,000 acres, it is the second largest park in the state park system and draws over 400,000 visitors a year. We didn't have time to hike it, but take a look at our drive down into this amazing canyon.
So what's next for us? Well, we've landed some summer volunteer jobs at Glorieta Adventure Camps just outside Santa Fe. This is a great camp and we're really looking forward to our time there. When not helping the campers, we'll be exploring Santa Fe's unique culture and natural beauty.
We've also begun planning and making reservations for our winter trip. In a nutshell, we plan to explore much of the Gulf Coast region. We plan to spend time in Florida kayaking in crystal clear rivers, then set up camp in Gulf shores to prowl the territory between Florida Panhandle and New Orleans.
And then finally, we'll spend much of the winter hiking and paddling our beloved Texas coast. After that, it's back to our anchor home to hug grandchildren and plan more trips.
Stay tuned for our next videos. We'll soon post up a 2-part episode on what we find while driving and hiking Santa Fe and the Sangre de Cristo Mountains.
Thanks for watching.